This is Old Line Farmer Radio, a Maryland Farm Bureau production, helping you achieve your best farm future.
Hello and welcome to Old Line Farmer Radio. My name is Parker Welch, Executive Director of Maryland Farm Bureau, and I'm once again your host this week. It's currently March 12th, and the estimated average price of corn in Maryland is $4.96 per bushel, and soybeans is at $9.62 per bushel, a small increase from last week. Some top headlines in ag news from this week are: in response to our action alert against Maryland's proposed budget cuts to ag programs, over 300 letters have been sent to state legislators by you. This is a great success by our grassroots members, and the message is getting through to legislators. Keep up the great work. These cuts cut critical ag programs which threaten the very future of agriculture in our state. So if you haven't done so already, easily write your lawmakers in opposition to these short-sighted cuts by visiting mdfarmbureau.com/action-center. Thank you to everyone who has already reached out to their legislators. The U.S. Treasury Department has announced that they are suspending enforcement of the beneficial ownership information reporting requirement for U.S. citizens. These requirements would have made it mandatory for many farms and small businesses to report ownership specifics to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. As noted by American Farm Bureau, the reporting deadline was moved several times before suspension, so be sure to follow Farm Bureau for updates if any additional changes are made. Planned tariffs on products from Mexico and Canada have been paused until April 2, 2025. American Farm Bureau President Zippy Duvall is applauding this temporary pause, adding that he encourages the administration to resolve issues with Mexico and Canada in order to preserve these important markets for farmers. The Partners in Advocacy Leadership Program, popularly known as PAL, is a nationally renowned selective program designed to train agricultural leaders in advocacy while speaking to government officials and the media. Charles County farmer Karl Shlagel was recently accepted into this program, and he speaks with us on how he is bringing back what he learned to further advocate for farms in Maryland. Kara Hutchison has the story.
This is Kara Hutchison for Old Line Farmer Radio. I'm here with Karl Shlagel. Karl, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your involvement in agriculture?
Sure, Kara. Happy to be here. Long-time listener, first-time caller. So I am a fourth-generation farmer from Charles County, Maryland. We are fruit and vegetable farmers primarily. I am of a generation that worked off the farm for quite a few years and then was able to come back. As I came back, I tried to get more and more involved. It started with the Lead Maryland program, which I served in as part of Class 11. I was the COVID class, so the 2-year program that became a 4 to 5 year program. Shout out to all my classmates from Class 11. I took the lessons that we learned in Lead to heart and about serving our community and serving our industry. So upon graduation, I sought to find a leadership position, and Maryland Farm Bureau was ready for me. So I became a district director for District 3, Southern Maryland, my community, and I've served on the Maryland Farm Bureau now this will be the 3rd year. After that, with some nudging and prodding from a past PAL alumni, Jamie Terralla, I joined the PAL program, and we've been in that for about a year now.
Oh, that's so awesome. So tell me about this PAL program.
So PAL is Partners in Advocacy Leadership. It's a program put on by American Farm Bureau Federation. It is a way to take 30 to 45-year-old somethings and basically ones that have already shown an aptitude for advocacy and leadership and to enhance their current skill set. It's not a beginner's program. You're coming in at a base level with people that are already doing testimony. They're already talking to congressmen. They're already talking to senators. They're talking to their local legislature. They're on their Farm Bureau boards, or they were on national boards, and really ratcheting up their skill set.
Oh, that's awesome. So how are you bringing the things that you learn in your PAL program back to the state board or even the county level?
So great question. And obviously that's important because a lot of time and effort and energy is being put into me and my classmates. And we're from all around the country, so we're each having unique situations where we live, but they're also very much the same. Agriculture, while we are in it and we think of how strong it is and all of the great things it does, most of our friends and neighbors and communities and heck, the country and the world, they don't understand it. Less than 1% of people are involved in commercial production agriculture. So what I'm doing both at the state level and the local level is, one, taking the time to speak up, starting to build relationships with legislatures, both my county commissioners, delegates, senator, as well as starting to send those emails to our representatives in DC. I know we're in a unique situation because we live in Maryland, that DC is not a faraway place for us. It's literally 30 minutes from my farm. But because it's so close, I think in some ways we forget that reaching out to those representatives and those senators is important, and making sure that we're re-engaging with those things.
Oh, absolutely. So what advice do you have for people or members who want to be getting to that level, who want to be a part of PAL someday?
So I think for anyone that's trying to be a better advocate for themselves and for agriculture as a whole, you first need to engage with your elected officials, whether that be your county commissioner, whether that be your delegate, your senator. Step one is you need to keep it professional. I know they might be your buddy, they might be your friend, but they should be commissioner, delegate, so-and-so, Secretary of Agriculture. Use their title, show a modicum of deference to them. But when you have them out to your farm, when you have these conversations, tell them your story. Don't say, well, this happened to my friend. Tell them what's going on with you. Give them something to remember when they're casting that vote, and ask. They're out there because they were elected to do things for you as their constituent. So have an ask. They're on the farm. You explain to them, hey, we're having problems with wildlife. We're having problems with deer management. Don't just ask for, I need help. Give them a solution. We need Sunday hunting. We need better crop damage permits. We need nighttime hunting. Have a solution presented for them. It doesn't have to be all thought out, but give them an idea, something that they can go back to Annapolis or go back to Washington, D.C. with to serve your needs.
Oh, that's awesome. Definitely, I have learned through my time at Farm Bureau that they really want to hear your story, not your neighbor's story, not your friend's story. They want to hear about you and what has impacted you. So how much longer do you have in this program, and what do you think it's going to look like when you come out of the program?
It's a great question. So end of this month, I actually go to Chicago. So the PAL program is broken up into 3 different modules. The first one was dealing with media relations. That was up in New York City. The second one was dealing with your elected officials. That was obviously in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. This third one is stakeholder engagement. And this is going to be probably the most fun out of all of them, because we're used to dealing with stakeholders that we align with. Mm-hmm. Farm Credit, Syngenta, Southern States, some of the business partners we have. But for this, we're having to role play with stakeholders that we don't necessarily agree with. And how do we take someone that's theoretically an enemy of agriculture and try to nitpick out things that we can align with to use them to help advance our own positions, and vice versa. So it's going to be interesting to go through it. After that, we have an international trip. Don't know where that's going to be yet. And then this time next year, I graduate.
Oh, that's awesome. And congratulations on all you've accomplished so far. I can't wait to see what else you bring back to the state board and also your counties that you work with. So, I saw on Twitter the other day you brought a cow into your garage.
So, this last snowstorm that we had, we're getting the plows and the trucks and the tractors ready to go out because we have a contract to push snow for our county. And literally, we're like T-minus 2 hours from needing to report to get salt on the vehicles. And my younger brother Jake happens to look out in the pasture and go, there's a calf on the ground. Okay, pause, cold day. We weren't even expecting this calf to be on the ground. Let's go up and find out what's going on. We get up there, poor little guy, hasn't even been licked off, hasn't been cleaned up. Mom has just walked away from him. So we try to get them together. We try to bring them both up, get them under cover, get them in the stable. She is a rotten scoundrel, nasty, nasty, nasty. She earned her a one-way trip to the butcher shop. So we put the calf in the tool shed. which was great because heated, so we were able to warm him up and bottle feed him, but also not so great because the tool shed still stinks today. I mean, it just reeks. But he's doing great. Bottle baby, he got him outside in the sun, in a little paddock. He is lined up to be a 4-H calf now, and my kids are just tickled pink. They are just in love with him. So all worked out well.
Oh, that's awesome. I hope we can see more updates on Twitter.
Well, I guess we'll have to do that, yeah.
All right, Karl, thank you so much for joining us on Old Line Farmer Radio. Hopefully you can tell more about your pal story and what else you're doing in agriculture another day.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This has definitely been a good journey. I'm just glad that I am able to, in my own small way, help to support the industry that I love.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara.
Our grassroots members are making their voices heard to get real victories for Maryland Ag, and you can join us in this endeavor. Become a member at members.mdfarmbureau.com. With that, please give us a rating and review, and if you learned something today, please share this podcast with your friends. Old Line Farmer Radio is a production of Maryland Farm Bureau. Produced by Jed Burchick, introduction by Hollis Zimmerman, and contributions this week from Parker Welch and Kara Hutchison, who is getting married this weekend. Congratulations, Kara. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time on Old Line Farmer Radio.